was never a nation, Palestine. There was never a distinct ethnicity, Palestinian. The people in the area were Arab Muslims, ethnically, linguistically, religiously the same as Egyptians, Jordanians, Saudis. The Ottoman Turkish Empire oppressed the Arab world until they were destroyed in World War I. Arab states got their indigenous homelands, even if it meant drawing artificial lines like the border between Jordan and Saudi Arabia. And now what happens in World War II? 6 million Jews are slaughtered in Europe. In the 1930s, 1940s, there are boatloads of real Jewish refugees. Today, we have Jews who are oppressed in Muslim countries trying to migrate, and they've been doing that for decades. Those are real refugees. They are persecuted in the lands where they are. Palestinians, however, there were between 600 and 800,000 people who fled voluntarily or they say were displaced when Israel came into existence in the late 1940s. Today, the survivors, those people who can claim that same status, are down to about 20 to 30,000. Why do we then have millions being claimed to be Palestinian, quote, refugees? The definition of Palestinian refugees bizarrely expanded to include 5 and 7 million are the estimates they give. But that counts everyone who never fled. People still living in the West Bank or Gaza. Those are supposed to be refugees. And so the same people who refuse to recognize the right of Jews to migrate to Israel, who are actually been persecuted over the last century in both Europe and in Muslim countries, those are not refugees. They have no right to migrate to Israel. That's evil Zionism, imperial colonialism, don't you know? But the grandchildren of people who are living in perfectly safe places, who were born and raised there all their lives, those are refugees. This is an entire conceptual corruption. In fact, it's a racist application specialized to the Arab Muslims who have some connection to this area, but not to Jews across the world who are actually been minority persecuted in both Muslim and Christian countries over the last century. Peaceful people have a right to move about and immigrate where they like. However, a country does have a right to restrict immigration when it means terrorists, people wanting to wage war against your country, the criminals who want to kill people in your country. They have no right to immigrate to Israel or the surrounding area if they mean Israel's destruction. Peaceful Jews who want to move to Israel have a right to immigrate because guess what? They're peaceful, law-abiding people. But if you were to allow almost 6 million Muslims who are hostile to Israel to move to Israel, that would mean the destruction of Israel and no safe place for Jews. It would mean the annihilation of Israel, and they would quickly move to do October 7th until all the Jewish babies were burned, slaughtered, and beheaded.